Hello and hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to be back, and if this is your first time, I am Dalenga, and Dalenga is the founder of There Is Still Hope, a place where we encourage people to move away from past sorrows and move on and embrace a life that matters. If you are not a subscriber yet, you don't know what you're missing. Please do subscribe and become part of There Is Still Hope family. Stay tuned. Well, Hendrina, you mentioned earlier about black tax. Tell us about it. What is it really, and how do one manage it?
Black tax. It's a famous topic right now. Black tax is a term that I'm not sure where it came from. I don't think anyone knows where it came from. But it's the concept that a black child, when they start working, they don't just manage their finances for themselves. They have to take on other obligations from family members that are struggling, or they have to take over from their parents, because if your parents are working, they are also helping other family members, extended family members. So it's that sense of community where your money might not just be your money. Now that can have a negative connotation because some people take it negatively. Others think it's like it's ubuntu, you're supposed to help, right? But it does affect your finances, right? Now, how you manage black tax is you need to budget for it. You include it in your budget because it's one of your line items in your budget. You are supporting people at home. You have someone in school that you are supporting. You must include them in your budget. And another thing I like to say when it comes to black tax is you need to also call a spade a spade. There are types of black tax when sometimes it's really needed. So when it's needed, you support. Other times, honestly, it's not. There are people who I have seen, they are supporting. Presumably you are sending money at home, and then just to find out that that money that you sent home was actually used on alcohol, it was used on things that are destructive instead of buying the needs for the family. So in that situation, you might want to send the money to a different person, or you might want to set boundaries, because other situations of black tax is basically just lack of boundaries. We need to talk to our people about money management, about what you can and cannot afford, because that's another thing. You might find people who are just too demanding, because sometimes it even becomes an entitlement issue. Now we have to be careful when we say these things, because it's not everybody who's like this. There are people who really need help. So you need to help when you can, but as a person that's making the money, you also need to assess your situation at home. What can I do to maybe help these people manage money better? Because sometimes the people who we are helping also make money, and at the end of the month, every month, send me transport money because I don't have to get me to that last week of the month, So every month you are doing the same thing, and this person works. Why can't you sit them down and help them manage their money better? Help them come up with a budget. Help them come up with goals. Maybe you can even help them set up
start something to make money.
Start something
with
to make
money.
With that,
When you are talking about that, I'm now thinking of someone who is lacking all that which you're saying, like you must have boundaries, you must actually assess what is the money going to be used for, and you end up, give me 500, you give me $1,000, you give, and at the end of the day, looking at yourself, you are left with nothing. You are not progressing in any way. You are not building yourself in any way, and by the time you realize it has been years. In such a case, I know that you spoke about boundaries and all that. Would it be a bad thing when you start saying, well, I need to manage a black tax?
No, it wouldn't be a bad thing, because in life, we need to learn how to set boundaries. It's for our mental well-being. And you know that you need to set boundaries even with yourself. Because sometimes black tax is a result of guilt. You come from a family where people are not doing so well, and you are doing so well, so you feel guilty for having. It's not bad that you want to help people because they don't have, but you need to set boundaries with yourself, and then heal those wounds that are making you feel guilty for having, because when you have, you help, but we don't help by just plowing money where it's not needed, or when you are struggling yourself. Because imagine now you don't set boundaries, so you are now stressed, you are resenting people at home. First of all, you need to sit yourself down and then just say, how do I approach this? Because what I know is, if someone asks you and every time they ask you give, people don't get a sense of this person's money is also not infinite. There's a limitation. You don't need to call people out and say you are abusing me or what. You can even just say I don't have, because you are allowed to not have. And if you don't have, not having doesn't say, if you have money on your savings account and someone is asking, especially someone that you know, if I send this money today, they are going to drink it. You can say you don't have, because you are saying you don't have to yourself, because you could go and go out, but you are not going out yourself, because you know that the money that you have is for your future. You saved it for something, but you are setting boundaries with yourself, and you can't set boundaries with other people.
Which is wrong. I remember having a conversation with a friend talking about sometimes we're so much of a crutch in people's lives where they can just lean on. We're talking of a young person able to do much to make money for themselves, but because they know that you will come through for them, they will not even bother. You become a crutch for them to walk on. Sometimes God even wants to teach a person a lesson. By the time they get to learn the lesson, you have already helped them. And I'm just thinking of what you're saying now.
Yeah, because when you think you are helping, but what you are doing is actually enabling.
Yes.
And when you enable someone, you don't let them learn their lesson.
Exactly.
So what you do in that situation, the person keeps coming back to you. I need money for this, I need money for that. You point out the reason why you need money for this is because you are not budgeting, or you are not saving, or you are not doing this, and you don't have an emergency fund. And what I'm giving you now, I'm giving you from my emergency fund. You can't cut off people, or you can't not give people that you care for when you don't help them. It's important to help people first and say, listen, I think you have a problem with this. You need to save, you need to do this. And I'm sure they are going to come back from that conversation. You might, if you have, you might want to give them again, but remind them. Now, sometimes such conversations, I've had them, they went something like, you irritate me so much with such money talks. Just say you want or you don't want. Give me if you want to give me or not. And then you'll say, if you want to give, you will give, and then but you still maintain, next time I will not give you because I'm not your emergency fund. Now you have to be careful when you say things like that, because sometimes the person does need, so you have to also assess situations, because money is very sensitive, and people these days are very sensitive with their mental wellness, and mental health is an issue. So you don't want to say things, but at the same time you don't want to be used. So you have to be sensitive to such things, but you have to be stern and say, I cannot be your emergency fund. I'm going to help you this time, but I'm not gonna do that next time. The person might not come back to you next time, and if they do, you will just say, I don't have. Because if you say you don't have, what will they say next? Nothing. You don't keep giving the lesson because they got it the first time. Now it's just a matter of you implementing. Because if you say I don't have now, then next month that person is going to either, I've seen this happen as well, they might look for another person to give, which is bad, or in successful situations they will now decide to budget, or they might even come back to you and say, okay, can you now help me with this budget that you're talking about? And then the situation is resolved.
People hardly speak about money or finances without talking about savings. And in this COVID era, where COVID has really crumpled finances, what is savings really? What does it mean?
Savings is when you save, it's basically just you taking a portion of your money and you put it aside for a specific purpose. Sometimes that specific purpose is basically just future money. I'm reminded of this. There's an idiom in Oshuambo that says money is not for the earner, it's basically for the person who holds on to it. So it basically says that it's not telling us to hoard on money. Hoarding on money is also not right. You can't be earning money and not spending it. But at the same time, you can't be spending all of it, because it's important to look at your future. The definition of financial wellness, we said, it's being able to cover your current obligations and look forward to the future. You will not be able to look forward to the future if you don't have savings. So you need to be able to save, because an example that is coming to mind here is, imagine trying to invest. You invest money, and when you invest, you want the money to be in there. You don't want to go, something comes up and then you run to the investments. That's where you are getting the money, because then you are not earning the interest, or you're not earning whatever earnings you're supposed to earn. Whether you are not earning the dividends, because if you have invested in shares and then you decide to sell the shares every time you have a problem, you will lose out, because that's impulsive. You don't act like that when you invest. And also you will not reach the goal that you were investing for. So the way that you let investments be is if you have savings, emergency savings that I spoke of. And also when you invest, the way that you get to invest is you have to start saving first. You asked me a question on how you can save. Right? This is something that I feel like a lot of us struggle with. You may think your money is too little to save, and nothing is too little to save, because if you didn't have $50 yesterday and now you have $50, there is a very big difference between someone who has $50 and someone who doesn't have anything. The way that you save will be determined also by your goals. Just the same way that if you have a fitness goal, you might decide, I'm not going to eat junk food, I'm not going to do this. It's the same with financial goals. If you are saving up for, say, a car, you might decide, I don't want to eat this, I don't want to go out like this much. It's not to say you are cutting off everything from your life. You are minimizing those things and then focusing on your goals. And the way that you do that is it's important to automate your savings. When you automate your savings, you can just go to your bank, or you can just go, now we have apps, right? You just go to your app and then you make it a monthly payment. It's every time you get paid, the money automatically just goes to your savings account, and you are saving that way. Other ways that you can save is, people go to shops and then you just look for discounted prices, and it's not discounted prices on small things. Say you use dish soap, right? And you use washing powder and all these things every single month or every single weekend. You could buy those in bulk. When you buy those in bulk and they are discounted, you will save money. It's also just a matter of not having to buy them every month. Sometimes the money that you are saving is not that much, but even just the fact that you don't need to go to the shops every time you get paid, because I have realized that saving is not my problem. Going to the shops is my problem. When I go to the shops, there is so much temptation that honestly, I save a lot when I don't go to the shops. So you need to think of ways that personally, how can you save? That's my way. What I do, I buy in bulk, because when I buy in bulk, I don't go in town so much, because then I don't need to, and because I don't need to go to town, I don't see what's in the shops. So when I don't see what's in the shops, I am not tempted to buy things.
So you stick to your budget?
I stick to my budget. So, and then I save. And also another thing, when you automate your savings, when you go to the shops, the money is not on your account anyways. It's already taken care of. You've already paid it. And we need to get into that habit, because you know how when you owe someone, a lot of people usually pay those people first. You pay your car loan, you pay all your debts first, and then you save last. That's good because your credit will not be affected in a negative way. But imagine if you treated your savings as someone that you owe, because you do owe yourself. And that's where the concept of paying yourself first comes in.
I wanted to ask that.
Yes.
What does it really mean to pay yourself first?
It means you are paying your future self first, because when you save, you are saving towards goals that are in the future. You are saving towards investments that are going to take you to financial independence, right? So it means that you are paying your future self first. You are taking care of yourself. And what that does, honestly, is it gives you this sense of, I am good. I'm taking care of myself. Before I take care of black tax, before I take care of everything else, I have taken care of myself, however small that you can afford. The fact that you thought of yourself is important enough.
Listening to all of this that you're saying, it's not a walk in the park. It comes with responsibilities. It comes with decisions that one has to make. When is one financially independent, and how does one work towards that?